My oxygen levels were really low. People thought I would have to be put on a helicopter. I would say I did train my body for months leading up to that trek, but I think somewhere I was nervous about whether or not I would make it because it's really high. You're going to some 5,300 plus meters, just close to 80,000 feet. I think the last 3 kilometers to base camp. It was really close and I didn't know if I was going to it, but in my head I was just thinking, I cannot be done with that right now. You're going into one of the largest Jewish concentration camps, eerie silence all around, no other tourists. It was just me going from room to room, and you can see the names of all the people who died there, the gas chambers, all those, you know, tiny rooms over where they were packed like sardines, and they even plastic. Think about what your parents are saying, your friends are saying, you can't get enough sleep from work, whatever it is. Yeah. You do need to do.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Been There, Seen That with Travel Secrets. Today we have Saachi Dhillon, who is a marketer, a passionate traveler, and also a writer. Let's see what she has to say today. So, what was your first solo trip like, and what would you advise the other solo travelers, especially women, to do when they are planning for the first solo trip?
So my first solo trip was the one where I went on a backpacking trip across Europe, various countries, I think 6, 7 countries at that time, and this is before WhatsApp, Google Maps, nothing. So that was quite an adventure, and the kind of people I met along the way. So I'm generally or used to be a very shy person. It really helped me open up, just being on my own, because if you need directions or if you need any help, if you're in a place where you don't speak the language. For example, I was in Czech Republic at that time, and I wanted to go to this concentration camp on the outskirts of Prague in the Bohemian countryside. So I got onto this bus with locals, nobody spoke a word of English. Why I was on that bus is because I was on a really tight budget. In fact, at that time, I think money management also comes into play, budget management when you're traveling. So I would only have enough money to eat 2 meals in a day, and I would do that because I knew that if I spend, say, €1 or 2 extra somewhere else, then I have to miss out on something else. Yeah. So I got onto that bus, got to the concentration camp, but and I think I'm sort of steering off from what you asked me.
That's okay.
It just comes to mind because that was quite a eye-opening experience. First of all, the sky was overcast. Okay. You know, you're going into one of the largest Jewish concentration camps. Eerie silence all around. No other tourists. Okay. It was just me going from room to room, and you can see the names of all of the people who died there. The gas chambers, all of those, you know, tiny rooms where they were packed like sardines, and they even had bloodstains on the walls. So it was quite something, and there was this howling wind, and I felt like somebody was following me. There's an antique shop, so I walked in, and there was a lot of World War II memorabilia, nice. All the way from guns to old cameras to postcards from, you know, two lovers who probably would never meet again, or maybe never met again. So I picked up a couple of those postcards for nostalgia, and it's I think moments like these that really help you center yourself also.
Yeah. You say you trek a lot, right? So you love trekking. So as a trekker, which particular destination you think is a trekker's paradise and why?
That is a tough one. Okay. I think the Himalayas overall are a trekker's paradise.
Particular trek that you want to sort of, that you enjoyed a lot, that you said, yes, this is it, and this is the peak of a trekking experience. So what would that trek be, and how was it for you?
I would not like to pick one out, although the Everest Base Camp one would probably stick out, and that's why I wrote a book on it as well. But every trek has been very special.
How was that particular experience, the Everest Base Camp trip?
That was quite a life-changing experience, I would say. I did train my body for months leading up to that trek. But I think somewhere I was nervous about whether or not I would make it because it's really high. You're going to some 5,300 plus meters, which is close to 80,000 feet above sea level, and you are gaining ascent 200 to 300 meters every day. Overall, it's a 14-day, 130 kilometer long adventure. So you really need to be strong. Of course, there are lots of amenities along the way. You don't have to camp, thankfully. Otherwise, you would freeze probably over there. And there are Sherpas to guide the way as well.
Okay.
But along the way, because of the changing climate over there, suddenly, there is this huge gust of wind that blows in your face, and or you're suddenly engulfed in thick fog, or the temperature will drop so much that you're trying to take a sip of your water, but it's all frozen, even though you're in a tea house. And the body as well is trying to acclimatize by walking over glacial moraine, lots of rock, dry terrain because you're going way above the tree line. So my body was very tired, and I also felt sick, unfortunately. So that was quite a struggle, especially the last 3 kilometers to the base camp. Like I was really close and I didn't know if I would make it, but in my head I was just thinking I cannot be turning back right now. At that time, yes, my oxygen levels were really low. People thought I would have to be put on a helicopter, but somehow I made it. Also made it back, and then they were like, take a helicopter and go down all the way. So I said, no, I'm going to walk back. In fact, there was some other girl in our group also who also felt sick, and when she saw that I was walking, so she also decided to walk. So it was good to probably
inspire people to go. Nice. So I always wanted to sort of ask you this question. So as a rider, I always like to hit the road, and I make sure I'm careful at the end of the ride, because that's the most crucial part in the whole ride, so to say. But for a trekker, if you look at it, it's at a slow pace. You are actually experiencing the destination as you walk. But I just want to know which part of the trek is the most crucial part. Is it the middle, is it the end, or is it the beginning?
See, the beginning is the easiest because you are very excited and you're looking forward to what the mountaintop has to offer. Middle part is when you really need to keep yourself motivated still, because that's when the body starts getting tired. Keep yourself hydrated, take enough rest, maybe eat an energy bar or chocolate or whatever you want to. Towards the end is probably the most challenging, because now you've seen the top of the mountain that you were trying to climb and those magnificent views, but you also need to make it all the way back. So that's when your body needs a little bit of a kick, so to say. But again, you need to be careful, because when you're descending, that's when your knees can really take a hit. So you're supposed to not go straight down, you're supposed to sort of, walk sideways. And trekking poles are always an advantage as well. So I would say that is really challenging as well.
The one best moment that defines your experience as a trekker, what would that be?
Multiple, I think.
If you could choose one.
Tough questions. Okay, so once I was in Uttarakhand, it was one of my early days of trekking, many years ago. So I was on this Chandrashila chopped out trek, which is now very popular and it's great for beginners as well. So we went up to Chandrashila Peak, and there's a really famous temple also over there. I think it was some 5:30 in the morning, and we were on top waiting for the sun to come out. And it did come up from behind those mighty snow-clad mountains, and that was quite a special moment because it stayed with me, and I could see how the rays of the sun were lighting up everything around it, and a new day had been born, so to say. So that was quite an emotional moment.
I'm sure. You spoke about moments, right? So in these moments really sort of take it to another world, so to say. So do you look at experiencing many real moments in one particular trip, or you sort of visualize having that one nice experience and coming back home with that memory? So how do you plan your trips? You plan many destinations in one trip, or do you plan just one destination and come back?
So it really depends on which part of the world I'm going to. If it's, say, one country, then I would rather stick to a few places or few cities to see over there. But if I am going on a trek, then of course it's all about the journey. There are multiple moments packed into that multi-day adventure. It could be something as small as seeing the sunrise over the high mountains, or walking through a forest and the leaves are rustling under your feet, or just the sound of a gushing streamlet somewhere. So there are lots of small moments. I think just being out in nature, I'm a nature lover, it just helps me slow down and find peace of mind. Maybe that's why I keep running off to the mountains. Of course, I do lots of other trips as well, where I'm going and seeing different countries or different parts of the world.
How do you see this whole passion sort of come to you in your life?
I think it's always been there. Maybe it was a latent, one of those things that they're just there, but you don't tend to go after it. But it also happened a little bit by accident, because when I was about 17 years old, I was sent off to New Zealand for the very first time on an airplane. And that was quite a milestone moment, I would say, because I was sitting on this plane, very scared, going to go visit my aunt at the other end of the world. Never ever before that had I traveled alone. And that was the starting point of my journey, of literally finding myself through solo travel. And after that, I was in England to pursue my higher education. And once my master's degree was complete and I had managed to find a job, I'd saved up some money. So I wanted to go off to Europe on a backpacking trip. So that happened. I was dating somebody at the time, and I asked the person if he would come along, but he couldn't for whatever reason. So I decided to go on my own. And I remember getting onto that Eurostar train, getting off at Brussels station, and literally there were butterflies in my stomach, because I had a map in hand, I had some money, I had a huge backpack the very first time. I knew which hostel I had to go to, but that was pretty much it. So I literally walked out of the station with a map in hand, and I'm like, okay, left, right, roamed around, and I think that was quite a memorable, one of my most memorable trips, and there's been no stopping.
Wonderful. So, do you really prefer planning your trips beforehand, or do you sort of go unplanned?
I am organized as a person, so I do like to plan. I like to know where I'm staying, especially because I do travel by myself most of the time. In the last few years, I have been traveling with people as well. But yeah, because if you are traveling alone, especially as a woman, wherever it is that you're going, it is important to know if that place is safe, is it in a safe neighborhood, maybe carry some pepper spray or whatever the hell you can alongside you. So yeah, it's important. I think those basic things. And yes, of course, if you can figure out what all you want to see in that particular city.
So, there's one more thing. You balance yourself a lot. I mean, you also like to travel abroad. You are also a trekker, you're a marketer, you also have written a book. So how do you balance all these roles, and which particular role you'd want to pursue in the future?
It is a tough balancing act. I would say at the very heart of who I am as a person, I am a writer.
Okay.
So that is something I would like to pursue more of in the future.
Okay.
Of course, writing doesn't pay the bills, which is why we're going to work.
Yeah.
Although I do enjoy what I do as well. Communication is my forte, I feel. So it's interesting to see what's happening in that part of the world as well. But yeah, I would like to write more. I am working on my second book. It's a collection of short stories inspired by all of my travels about various aspects of life: love, life, nature, travel.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to write more.
So how do you think your passion for writing really blends with your passion for trekking? Do you think both these things inspire each other, or do you think one really helps the other?
I think one really helps the other. So my trekking, because I've been to some really remote places only that you can probably go on foot.
Yeah.
And given that I have this really close association with nature, it really inspires the writer in me. In fact, I used to write when I was a kid. I used to write short stories in school, and then I had forgotten about that aspect of my personality for a really long time till I was in Ladakh.
Okay.
On the bank of Pangong Lake, on the banks of Pangong Lake, and that's when I wanted to write a poem. So I like to also experiment with my writing. So it could be poetry, it could be prose, it could be short stories, it could be a full-size book. But yeah, I think my trekking or my experiences being in nature really inspire me to write, and I would like to do more of nature writing.
Okay.
Like Britain has produced some of the best nature writers and poets that we all are aware of. I feel that India has to catch up on that front. So let's see what little contribution I can make towards that.
Good luck with that.
Thank you.
Also, one particular question on your strong message for the women travelers out there, and how do you see them? What's your one particular advice you give them to pursue their passions when it comes to travel and sustain it for a long time?
Just go. Yeah, it's as simple as that. You just have to go. You don't have to think about what your parents are saying, your friends are saying, maybe you can't get enough leave from work, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You do need to go out and explore what the world has to offer, because I feel a lot of me growing up or becoming more worldly wise can be attributed to all of my travels. Whether it was a trek, whether it was going and seeing a new city in a different part of the world, that has really helped much more than classroom education. So that's why I would recommend it. Even if it's a weekend trip, just do it. Go with a friend, go in a group, and once you have enough confidence, try going alone.
Also, one last question. Who do you think inspired you the most to travel and to write? Who's that one person and why?
To travel, I would say my mother.
Okay.
Because she's the one who initially sent me off to New Zealand and then to England.
Okay.
So I think inadvertently, not to say that she's traveled a lot, she hasn't, but I think maybe through me she is getting to see the world as well, and through the stories that I write. In terms of writing, I started writing really early. I think it's just, I feel maybe in another lifetime I was a writer.
Okay. Maybe you're one now also.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's where the writing comes from.
Great. It was great meeting you today. Thanks a lot for making time.
Thank you.
And see you next time.